All right, welcome to your very first pre-flight briefing. Think of this as our first sit-down before we head out to the airplane. I'm here to be your guide on the ground as you get ready to take to the skies. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through some of the absolute foundational concepts you'll need, not just to fly the plane, but to really start thinking like a pilot. This is where the journey truly begins. So take a look at this. This is basically the roadmap for your training. We'll start out in the pre-solo phase, with me in the right seat. Then comes that incredible day, your first solo flight. From there, we'll master all the maneuvers, you'll learn to navigate cross-country, and it all leads up to the check ride. But passing that test, that's just a milestone. Our real goal, the thing we're truly aiming for, is something much deeper. And that goal, the ultimate objective of all this training, the one thing that really separates a great pilot from someone who can just move the controls, is a concept we call airmanship. This is our true north. Everything we do is about building this.
So what in the world is airmanship? Well, you can think of it as a blend of three crucial things. First, having the sound knowledge of how things work. Second, having the skill to make the airplane do exactly what you want it to do. But the most important part, it's having the good judgment to make the right call every single time. It's all about being safe and efficient in everything you do in and around the airplane.
This is what airmanship looks like in action. A pilot with good airmanship can assess a situation in an instant and predict what's probably going to happen next. They have a deep respect for safety. They know their airplane's performance inside and out, and just as important, they know their own limitations. And maybe most crucially, they are always identifying, assessing, and figuring out how to reduce risk. These are the exact skills we're going to build together, one flight at a time.
Okay, so how does this big idea of airmanship actually translate into the physical skills you'll be learning in the cockpit? You see, flying isn't really like anything you've done before. It demands a pretty unique set of abilities from your body and your senses.
I get this question all the time. I'm sure you've probably wondered about it yourself. On the surface, it seems like it might be similar, right? You've got controls, you're moving, you're navigating, but is it really the same thing? Well, the short answer, straight from the FAA, is a pretty firm no. And the reason is actually really simple. An airplane operates in a three-dimensional world. In a car, you're on a flat surface, forward, back, left, right. In a plane, you add up and down into the mix. And trust me, that changes everything. Because of that third dimension, you're going to master 4 core motor skills. First up is coordination. That's getting your hands and feet to work together smoothly without even thinking about it. Next is timing, which is applying that coordination at the exact right moment. Then you'll develop a control touch. This is cool. It's learning to feel what the airplane is doing right through your fingertips on the controls. And finally, speed sense, which is developing an instinct for how the plane should feel at different speeds. These are the real building blocks of flying with precision. Okay, now that we've talked about the feel of flying, let's switch gears and talk about the rules. Every pilot needs a rule book. And I know, it can seem a little intimidating at first, but try to think of these regulations as the framework that keeps everyone who's up in the sky safe. It's not a barrier to entry, it's our shared language of safety. And here it is. This is Title 14 of the Code of Federal Regulations, or the CFRs for short. Now, before you get overwhelmed by this chart, just take a breath. Don't worry. You do not need to memorize this entire thing. Not even close. As a new student, we're going to zoom in on just a couple of key parts. These are the two you're going to get to know pretty well. Part 61 lays out everything you need to do to get your pilot certificate. All the requirements, the training, the tests. And Part 91, well, that has the general operating and flight rules. You can think of it as the rules of the road for the sky. We'll tackle these piece by piece as you need them, so please don't feel like you have to learn it all at once. Now, here's something a lot of people don't realize. A flight doesn't begin when the engine starts. A good pilot knows the flight begins long before that. Your situational awareness, your responsibility, it all starts right here on the ground. This quote from the Airplane Flying Handbook just nails it. It says, "Experienced pilots place a strong emphasis on ground operations, as this is where safe flight begins and ends." Rushing your pre-flight is one of the easiest ways to get yourself into trouble. We just don't do that. So before you even touch the airplane itself, the very first place you go is to the books. You'll check the aircraft's maintenance logbooks to make sure all the required inspections are up to date. This is how you verify legally that the aircraft is airworthy and okay to fly.
So once you know the plane is legally good to go, you have to determine if it's actually safe to fly. And for that, you'll grab the Pilot's Operating Handbook, or POH. This is the owner's manual for the specific airplane you're about to fly, and inside it has the detailed checklist you'll use for your pre-flight walk-around inspection. And this right here is the bottom line. It's so important. The mechanic signs off on the maintenance, but you, as the pilot in command, you have the final authority and the final responsibility. If you're inspecting the plane and you don't like something you see, you don't fly, period. It is always your decision.
All right, let's talk about one of the most important habits you will form, starting on your very first flight. This is a non-negotiable safety procedure. We're going to practice this every single time we fly together. No exceptions. It's called the positive transfer of controls, and it's designed to eliminate any possible confusion about who is flying the plane. It's a simple three-part conversation. I'll say, you have the flight controls. You will then put your hands on the yoke and your feet on the rudder pedals and say back to me, I have the flight controls. Then I'll visually confirm that and say one last time, you have the flight controls. Now, why do we do this? Because there must never, ever be any doubt about who is actually flying the airplane. That confusion is one of the most dangerous situations you can have in a cockpit. This simple three-step exchange kills that ambiguity completely. It is a core part of good airmanship, and it's what keeps us both safe up there. And that's it. Your first briefing is officially complete. We've covered our ultimate goal, airmanship. We've talked about the unique skills you're going to learn, the rules of the sky, and the huge responsibility that starts right here on the ground.